Okay, so I want to be intentional about this small conversation we're going to have. It's being recorded. If you don't want to be on camera, you can turn off your slider, your photographer, your camera as well. I want us to be very intentional as a class as we discuss allyship. And I'm sure we're having a conversation later today on advocacy. And you may say, Dr. ABC, then why didn't you use the word advocacy instead of allyship? I'm very intentional about why I wanted to do that. I'm very intentional about why I choose to use allyship with and not advocacy. Why I choose to use allyship and not co-conspirator. Why I choose to use allyship and not accomplice. Why I choose not to get into that vocabulary. And I'm being intentional about that. What I find is that a lot of us have somehow, we like a new word. We like a new phrase. We like something new. And academia has actually, I feel like it has tricked us into feeling like we need to always have a new word, a new verb, a new idea to share something, when in fact, what's happening is that we are not doing what we're supposed to do in many areas. But what we have done is just get a new label. We just get a new label. So you are not doing the work of an ally, but now everybody's talking about co-conspirators and accomplices, because in 2020, Black people were saying, we don't need allies, we need accomplices and co-conspirator. So then what you do, you just say, well, I'm a co-conspirator, I'm an accomplice. But you have done nothing. You are doing nothing. There's no intentionality in your work. So I want us to understand why, as a class, CTL 5704, I want to have this conversation with us as a class about what it means to be an ally, as an educator. What does that really mean for us? And I want everybody to do me a favor right now. So the chat is on my screen. I'm going to open it because I see everybody's name. And I want everybody to write for me one word, not two, one word that comes to your mind when you think of the word allyship. One word. Go ahead. Let's get those quickly. Actions, Jamela. You started us off. Wonderful. One word. Everybody, one word per person. And I need that. 21 of us. Change. Advocate. Humility. Listening. Bravery. Humility again. Listening. Friend. Tokenism. Support. Supporter. Sorry. Constant. I love that word. I love that word. I love that word. Constant. Humility, community, togetherness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So quick one sentence for me, everybody. Quick one sentence. Who then is an ally for you? When you think about an ally, what is an ally? If you should write one sentence, who is an ally? And I see your word, Tanisha, access. If you should write a sentence, who is an ally? Let me hear your sentence. Go ahead, everybody. One sentence. Who is an ally? This is not from Wikipedia. This is not from any textbook. This is your voice. This is your heart. This is your heart beating on the topic. Give me that. Who is an ally? A phrase, a sentence. Who is an ally? Let me hear those sentences. Let me see those. We're intentional. I want to be intentional about that as we get into that. As I said before, I kept the word allyship. I want to include the word advocacy. I particularly said no to myself for that, because we are so big on a new word, yet still we have not done the actions and the practice as Jamela started out with. So Bethel, I see you, someone who stands up for others. I see that. When it does not, someone who stands up for others when it does not serve them, or even when it serves against them. That definition is so powerful. I want to just leave it there from us to soak it up a little bit. Does not serve them, even when it serves against them. That is powerful. That is powerful. I see everybody. Thank you, Oliver. Somebody who attempts to understand your struggles. Even the attempt is important. Someone who validates. Listening. I see all the words. But what I also see is the intentionality behind the word actions. Because when we talk about allyship, and I love this definition from Lee 2018, is an active support and advocacy for a group of persons, a membership of a marginalized group based on an understanding, that's what you said, Oliver, of their experience and challenges. It is not just a static process. It's about action, intentional effort to challenge oppressive system. One of the issue we have is that people want to be an ally, but they don't know how to challenge a system, especially when they are benefiting from that system. And that is why when I talk about anti-Black racism, like I said to you, I also discuss advocacy from within. Because what it looks like when you're advocating and you're also within that space where the advocacy is needed, it's intentional. And so in thinking of a mind's on, and this is something that I want you to think about as you think about it, what are the qualities of someone who is a good ally? What you think might make someone a good ally? And I heard the word listening a lot. I heard the word listening a lot. And I can tell you, if you ask me a part of my own growth in my advocacy work, I realize there's a different kind of listening. And if you've ever been into a class with Professor Clelia, she talk about political listening. And that's, I learned that from Clelia. You see, it's important for you to learn from each other. Some of us, we don't learn from anybody. We have to learn and talk about political listening. And I remember the first time I heard that term from her, I was like, okay, because it was new to me. And then as I started interacting, I understand it's listen. You're not listening for the 1, 2, 3, ABC, the regular stuff. You're listening to the things that are not being said, Jennifer. You're listening to things that are said in a different way. You're listening to the things that were said in a shield manner. You're listening for the things that were said and you can pick out because you're so in tune when it is performative. There are many of us, to be honest, who do not know what performative allyship looks like. The reason being is that because we don't have that sixth sense, so to speak. We are not as in tune to understand. So what we do, we buy a lot and we're taken up a lot in what I call institutional performances. We know how to do the land acknowledgement and we know how to pause. We know how to take a breath. We know how to make it seem like, you know what, I just came from talking to 2 indigenous elders. You know how to do that, how to frame and phrase and perform. And I want to almost, I'm going to do something here, Deborah. I feel like I want to defend the performers. And what you may say, Dr. Campbell, you, not you. I'm going to tell you why. Defend them in a way that I'm sad for them. Because the institutions forcing us in that performance. I'm going to tell you something. If you look at some of my video, you'll hear me say about my own self-reflection. I said, I don't want to be caught up to be a hypocrite. Sometimes I say very bold things on camera and I do it on purpose because I want my own words to keep me grounded. I want my own words to hold me accountable because we're easy to say things. You know, I watch teachers on practicum, for instance, who say, oh, I go to practicum and they critique everything. And you're supposed to do that. That's theory to practice. And you see all that is going on wrong in school. Let me kind of stop this something for a minute. And when you go on practicum, you see everything that is going on wrong in school, right? But what sometimes I think I fail to see from you are the ways in which you want to do different. I hear the critique, Deborah. I hear the critique, Tiffany. Nicole, I hear the critique. Emily, I hear the critique. And I believe. But what I'm not hearing is, how am I going to do different? What would my classroom look like? So Tuka, we had an amazing conversation. I sit and listen to you for a while talking about newcomers. And I would want to ask you, tell me how your classroom will be different for every child who is new. I have been there. When a child came off the plane on a Wednesday, I will never forget a particular school I was at. When the child came off the plane on a Wednesday and they took the child to school on a Thursday. And to be honest, I said, couldn't they let the child stay until Monday? I was like, let them play 2 days at home before you bring them to school. They were at school the next day. And I felt a level of responsibility for that child that I didn't feel before. Because what I was feeling, I'm realizing now, what I was feeling was that level of responsibility that I am your first contact. I am one of your first contact, Holden. I am one of the first contact you're going to have. My job is to make sure you feel that. That's advocacy. That's allyship. That's teaching. That's the quality. That's where teaching meet advocacy. And so I want you to think about that when we think about the work that we do. I see your hand up, Olden. Is your hand up? Go ahead and jump in quickly. Go ahead, quickly. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, like, is the goal, are we saying that the goal is allyship? Because I'm just thinking about an article and discussion we had last semester where allyship kind of like wasn't the goal. We were saying we need to go beyond it, and allyship
Yes.
is more like tokenistic measures. So to me, I'm like, wait, so is this the goal? Or are we like going accomplice? Because like, I mean, I just made that very big differentiation last semester, so I'm just trying to clarify.
Yes, and I love it that I'm pushing back and going back into words that you felt like you were over. Anybody realize what just happened? Olden, you just did it. So what is the goal? Hear me carefully. The goal is to be intentional about creating belonging and inclusion in any space you occupy. The goal is that the persons who are around you, that you are your friends, your family, your loved ones, the ones who are in your care, like your students, that you create spaces of belonging. And that what that looks like as a teacher is going to be your practice. Who are you as a teacher? What are your practice? Who are you? Do you practice empathy? Do you practice care? Do you practice love? Do you practice kindness? It's going to be your pedagogy. Are you teaching only to the test? Are the students seeing themselves in your lesson? Is your classroom, what they're talking about a lot now, a home place? Do your students feel safe? And if not safe, do they feel brave? Do they feel like my teacher shut down my voice, or do that my teacher give me voice? Can your students say at 3:30 when the bell rings and they leave in class, they said, like we used to say back home in the Pentecostal church, it was good for me to be here. That is a goal. I hope, listen, your timing was excellent because I felt you questioning me and I loved it. That is your goal to hold in. And guess what? Hear me carefully on record. I don't care if you call yourself an ally. I don't care if you call yourself an advocate. I don't care if you call yourself a transformational leader. I don't care if you call yourself a transformative social justice leader. I don't care if you call yourself a co-conspirator. I don't care if you call yourself an accomplice. I don't care if you call your work liberator, emancipatory. I don't care for all of that. Let me just say this. All those words I use, but I'm not hooked on a word. I'm hooked on an action and a result. I'm hooked on seeing you next door. I'm hooked on when I go in my car and I teach at the same school you, Olden, I can say, I would wish my child go into Miss Olden class. That is the win for me. That is what I'm here for. I'm not here because let me say, like I said to you before, you have really jumped into the talk in an amazing way. Olden, any of us can take on a new term. I get sick and tired of hearing titles. I hope you realize people are the best title. They are deputy director of EDI. They are supercalifragilistic EDI, JDI, whatever. Everybody's wanting a new terminology. And we don't want to use the word equity anymore. We want to use another word. We don't want to use the word this anymore. We're so hooked on words and phrase and frame and framing. And academia is teaching us how to use frameworks. But it is a bunch of crap when we're not seeing the results. We're not seeing the results. We're not seeing the results. We're saying we want to create a safe space. Well, tell me how you create a safe space. I don't want safe space buttons. Olin, you start me up. You started my engine extra. I don't want safe space buttons. I don't want safe space stickers. I want safe space for the students to actually say, I feel safe. Less than that, we are caught up in the hypocrisy of performance. So yes, I said to you at the beginning, I thank you again 3 times. I'm thanking you for doing that, because what I did, I want to intentionally use the word allyship. So no, I'm not bringing you back to level 1, Olin. I'm not bringing you back to a goal. I'm not be like, oh, I thought DR.ABC was going to tell me how to go into the school and fight and tie myself to the building. And no, I'm telling you how to be authentic. This is what we're talking about, how to be authentic in your work. how to be authentic in your work. I see your comment, Sonia. I see it, Sonia. Thank you. We're big on the stickers. We're big on a star. We're big on an acronym. I've seen people spend hours trying to get their acronym right. And I go, wow, wow, okay. We have spent 43 minutes trying to get the acronym, but we have not written down any action yet. Are we going to do? And it is okay, Deborah said, and is it all right if you don't receive praise and recognition? Absolutely. But the human being, a part of us, want that praise and recognition. I'm telling you, let me just say this, and I'm going to go very, 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 very open with you, Deborah, on that comment you made. You know, the work that I have done in secret, you know, sometimes I wish people would know the things that I have done. Because a human in us say, if we do that, watch me careful. Why the scars is so juicy? We only have 5 minutes to go. Why are you all bringing up all the juice when I have 5 minutes to stop this situation? Why are you doing that to me? Listen to me carefully, Deborah. I wish, because we are human beings, I wish that we get more of these. I got that one for excellence in my teaching. I got another teaching excellence. I have 4 over there teaching awards, and some of that is wrapped up in excellence. This is an entire dance teacher award and all kind of stuff. And a lot of this is wrapped up in advocacy. I actually could tell you about my advocacy with this in a school. As a matter of fact, the other day, I was asked to talk about advocacy through dance. How I use advocacy through dance in a TDSB school, in a middle school where girls weren't engaged. And I use dance to bring back engagement in the school in ways that the principal today still tell me thanks. The human being part of you want everybody to know that, Emily. But the advocacy, when you reach a certain level, you realize your joy is seeing those girls shine. Your joy is seeing, like for me, doing some work in OISE with the BEA, and for me, my joy is the day I walk into OISE and I see more racialized students and more Black students, and I know that I had something to do with that. You don't need to give me the Black getting students in the building 2023 award, because I have a funny feeling I would never get the award. There's going to be somebody else who signed some paper in a white institution that gets the award. And that's just how it works. And I really don't care. So I like when you push me there, Deborah, and thank you for pushing me over there, because I love that. So when you think about advocacy and allyship, as I said to you, I'm intentionally using the word because I want you to realize what's in a word. Because many of us, we are hooked on a word. We are hooked on a word, but there is no action. So that's why I want to dispel and rubbish some of those terminologies, Olden. I see you get it. Don't worry. I know you got it, because we have to go beyond the words and the phrases. And so allyship and advocacy, whatever word you want to use, right? We talk about people with strong allies. This is what the research says. Look what happens when you have strong allies. So let's say we want to use a different word then. Imagine if we have this and allyship is a baby. Let's say allyship is level 1 then. Imagine if we can do this at level 1. Imagine what would happen if we have co-conspirators. Ah, you got it. I saw when you got it. Imagine if we're using level 1 terms, level 1 disposition, level 1 heart, level 1 action, level 1 philosophy, level 1 ideas, level 1 human power. Imagine when we go to level 3 and level 4. So let's call it co-conspirator, level 4 and level 5. Imagine the work we will actually get to do. So yes, Odin, you can use allyship, but I'm also happy to allow you to not use the word allyship in anything and use the word accomplice and co-conspirator. Just make sure you can back it up. Make sure you have the receipts. Don't come to it with just terminology. Come with the receipts. And so I want to wrap this up because, like I said, it's a mini talk I want to have with us all. The type of allyship, and you're going to realize where I'm going with this. The convenient allyship. So yeah, I see you already got it. No, I'm not here to praise anybody for a stick and a star. This quick talk is not to give anybody all kind of kudos. It is saying, are we going to be stuck at convenient, performative, optical, or we are getting to true allyship? And I've said this, I've used it as a joke many times, but it's actually true that there are people who are in demonstration that you see on TV marching in a demonstration, they did not go for a demonstration. They went to shop, and the demonstration happened to pass the store they were shopping, and they walk with the demonstration. You know, I don't play. Deborah, I see you laughing. I don't play. I've seen that. I have literally seen that, Alex. People didn't go. They go shopping, and they're like, oh my God, the people are demonstrating Black Lives Matter. Let me go join them. Black Lives Matter. Yes, Jennifer, you love this course. You have to come back again. Do it twice, right? Because only I'm telling the truth. And I know you know I'm telling the truth. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to tweet Black Lives Matter, hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. Like, yes, nobody can hashtag like you. You're the hashtag queen. And then you are a coward. Oh, hashtag queen, but a coward. Somebody to quote me on that. That's original, DR.ABC. Hashtag queen, but you're a coward. And performative allyship. Just let me show everybody what I'm doing. Yay! Let me show. And like I said, the academia forces us to do this. You know, I've seen where people have gotten so much award for equity. Do I want awards for equity? On record, I'm going to tell you, best believe I would love awards. Because that's how the world we're in. But for me, when I get it, I want to know in my heart that I deserve that. It was just a recognition. It was just an ice on the cake. It was not the motivation. It's the work that I do. And Jamela, Jennifer, and Alex, and Nicole, you saw it and you say, big up DR.ABC for doing what you do. Here is an ice cream. That's it. And I'm fine with that. Because I'm delivering. But imagine getting accolades, getting recognition, and doing absolutely nothing. And so, listen to this. This is interesting. I'm going to show you the resource so you can take snapshot of the resources. Take a note of this. A 2020 study found over 80% of white employees view themselves as allies to people of color. But only 10 to 19% of people of color actually identified white people as their strongest ally. You got it. I know you got it. So what's in a label? What's in a word? What's in a label? What's in a word? What's in a label? What's in a word? And so we see the performance of allyship. We see the centering of yourself. We see the white fragility. You know, crying every minute because you think you're saving the world and the world is not thanking you for saving them. So no, you feel bad. I've seen it. But we want to move to authentic allyship. You cannot continue to be silent. We must begin to speak. This is my encouragement for us as students, as educators, as persons going into the field in teaching. When you walk into the classroom, you don't need to search for your allyship work, Olden. Tiffany, you don't need to search for your calling and your purpose. It's going to be right there staring you in the eyes, waiting for you to be that teacher that creates a space of belonging. There's no flashlight needed to search for, let me go search for my work in allyship. It will meet you even in the interview. You'll realize, I have my work cut out for me. And you show up with the action, the listening, the humility, the thing that you all said at the beginning. I didn't have one word to add to that list because every one of you had the important words. So we want to close by talking about, just say to you, step towards allyship. You know, think about the language you're using, whose voices is being amplified. Look at number 2. Are we calling out the bad behavior we see? Look at the word listening again in 4. Look at the seeking, the training, and beyond. So many people want to do allyship work, and I guess after a while they realize, well, I'm not qualified because it's going to take more than heart to do the actions. Oh, it's going to take more than heart to do the actions. Let me repeat that. It's going to take more than heart to do the actions. And then I also talk about equity work is also healing work. It's also heart work. So I want you to understand there are many of us who are emotional, we're excited and we have a heart, but we have to remember beyond that heart, we need the actions. So I'm going to leave you with that. That's just a mini conversation I want to have to inspire you as we log over into our next group. The resources are there. You can take a copy of it to look at some of the research and where it came from, and definitely another page of resources as well, and to look at all those stuff, what we're talking about. And you notice Tatum 2017 book that we took the quote from, Why Are the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? That's a book I used in anti-discrim class before, about 2 years ago. And for white teachers and teachers who are non-Black and non-racialized, to say, here are some of the conversations we are having about our students and how we can make sure we find ownership and welcome spaces. So thank you for that. I'm going to close that. Stopping there, and I'm also stopping